Hey everybody, welcome to the Benniebarrefitness Pilates studio and thanks for joining me for this bar workout. Today we're going to be doing a bar butt lift and we're going to be concentrating on some exercises for those glutes and for shaping the booty area. Let's do it.
We'll begin warming up the body and mobilizing through the hips. All of our work will be targeting our glutes. We're going to be working through the hips as well. So we're going to start twisting through the body and reaching beyond the foot. Twist and reach. Lift through the body. Twist and reach. This is like a Pilates saw, just standing.
I thought I would never be fine.
Right here, we're going to come down into kind of a frog squat. So we're going to hinge forward, and then we're going to press the legs back straight. If it's not possible for you to reach the ground, that's fine. Let your arms dangle. Rolling up through the spine right here, we're going to take the knee to the elbow. So we're getting an internal rotation of that hip as we pull the knee across the body and reach the opposite elbow to touch the knee. Now we're going to take the knees to the outside of our elbows and come into an external rotation right here. We're warming the body, we're working the core, we're opening it through the hips, and we're also challenging balance a bit. We're going to come back to the top right here and take that twist and reach beyond the leg, and then lift up through the spine. Twist the torso, reach beyond the leg, lift up. We're keeping the legs straight here and really concentrating on reaching, warming that body and stretching. Now we're going to take the knee to elbow. Now the knees are going to open up to the outside of the elbows. Right here, we're going to fold through the legs, come down into this frog squat. We're going to take 2 pulses and then press the hips back and send the legs back straight. Pulse, 2, and press back. Pulse, 1, 2, press back. Roll up through the spine right here. We're taking knee to elbow. Pay attention to the pace right here. We don't want to rush through this or make it super fast and sloppy. We want to bring up, a little hold, and bring back down. Knees are coming to the outside here.
Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day.
Now squat down right here, chest leans forward to the ground. We're going to press those legs back straight and bend back down.
I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright.
Now we're going to rotate one knee in towards the ground, open back out, and switch sides.
As they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day.
And finally straighten through the legs, roll up through the spine, and bring the arms up to the sky. And just take those hips from side to side right here. Now take those hips around in a circle and circle the opposite way. We want to make sure that the hips are really warm because we are going to target these glutes in every possible way. All right, now grab your round loop resistance band. We're going to put this on over top of the knees. If you don't have a round loop band but you have a TheraBand, you can also tie this around the legs as well. We're gonna come down into a squat right here and really get working. Now we're gonna take those knees and press them to the outside and then come back to your starting position. Little flutter through the knees, opening up, pressing out. Now the right leg, we're gonna step out and in. Right leg, left leg. We're gonna alternate back and forth. Little step in and return. Right here, we're gonna come into a squat. We're gonna squat down and press all the way up. Make sure that the hips come all the way forward. Right here, hold that squat down. Now right foot is gonna go out and up and then back and out. So we're thinking about a wide cha-cha here while we stay down in that squat. We'll take up, switch legs up, back and back. Reaching out and stepping forward and back. Now right here, we're gonna hold that squat and flutter the knees out. Now step the right foot out and in, left out and in, alternating each side each time. Now squat down and lift, squat it back and lift. Now right here, we're gonna hold that squat down and take that wide cha-cha. We're thinking out and up, out and back. Hold the squat and flutter the knees. Side step the foot, out and in, out and in. Now we're going back to that wide cha-cha. Squat it down and lift up. Remove the band. Walking up to our bar or bar substitute, we're gonna go from a first position, stepping out to second. We're gonna plie down in second and then lift the left leg. Plie down, the weight shifts into the right and we lift the left. Plie and lift. We're staying on that right or that left leg, lifting up here. So we wanna center and plie, shift the weight and lift. Keep the shoulders rolled back, chest nice and open. And we're just lifting the leg to wherever is comfortable for us. Now we're gonna switch sides. Plie, shift to the left, and lift the right leg. It's okay if the leg doesn't lift very wide or very high here. We just want it to be nice and controlled. Now coming back down to second position, we're gonna releve, plie with the heels lifted, lower heels, press up tall. Now reverse, plie, lift the heels, press the legs straight, lower the heels. Releve, plie, drop, press, plie, heels lift, press tall, drop heels. So each time that we're going through, we're just changing positions, starting downward, lifting upward. Plie, lift heels, press tall, drop, releve, plie, drop heels, press. We want to make sure here that the hips stay underneath the shoulders and that we're not coming into a squat. We're really articulating through the feet right here. And we should feel this from our feet all the way up to our seat. Last one right here, drop heels, press up and take it down, lift the heels, lift and lower. Walking into a first position with the feet, we're gonna pulse down in plie and then we're gonna lift up to a releve. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna lift, straighten the legs and lift the heels. Pulse for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift to releve and lower the heels. Continuing here, nice and controlled, 4 pulses in that plie, and then we're gonna press up and lift the heels high. Exhale on those 4 pulses and inhale as you lift up tall. Make sure that you're remaining in first position, so each time your heels should be touching here, and as they lift up, make sure that they come back into that same position. One more right here. Good. Now we're gonna reach the legs back and we're just gonna reach out in a flat back tabletop and take the hips from side to side. And roll up through the spine. We're grabbing for that round loop resistance band and we're gonna bring it on over top of the knees again. Go ahead and step through. And place just above the knees. We're gonna be in chair pose here. So those ankles are together and the knees are together. And we're nice straight and tall through the spines. We're not letting the back sway out. We're keeping it tucked under. We're gonna lift the heels, sit down into chair, and then we're gonna open the knees for 3, lift up tall, lower the heels. Lift, sit into chair, and open for 3. Make sure when you're sitting into chair that, again, this is not going to be a squat for us. Our back is straight and tall. So as we come down, the knees jut out in front and we stay tucked at the pelvis. Continue thinking here about length, lifting up nice and tall, and think about your chest being in between 2 panes of glass, nice and straight through the spine. Last one right here, and make sure that throughout you're not holding your breath, but you're breathing through the movement. Now we're gonna step out with our feet parallel, about hip distance apart, and we're gonna come into a releve, sit down into a wide chair and lower the heels. Then we're gonna squat back and lift. Lift the heels, sit down into a wide chair, those feet wide, and then we're gonna squat back. So really feel the difference when we hinge through the waist, coming back into that squat, and how we shift the weight, and when we stay straight up and down in that wide chair. Lower heels, squat back, lift up tall, lift the heels, sit into chair, lift tall, lower heels, and squat. Last one right here. Lower those heels, squat back, and you're done. Now we're gonna bring both those feet together. We're gonna flex through the heel, shift the weight into the left leg, and the right leg is going to lift straight out to the side and bring in. We're gonna keep this leg parallel, so we want the knee and the toes facing forward and not turning out here. Actively working through the hips and glutes. Now we're going to turn out, externally rotate. So we're turning the toes out to the side and the knee is turning up, and we're coming out here from this angle. Next, we're gonna stay externally rotated, take the heel behind your left foot, and we're gonna take to the back. Good. We're going to switch legs here. So now you're going to lift the left leg. You're going to shift your weight into your right side, flex through the heel, and take off to the side. Whew, we are really feeling this with just a few. We're shooting for about 10 in each direction. Good. Now externally rotate so the heel is pointing into your standing leg heel and the toes are turned out, knee is turned out. And make sure you're nice, stable and steady through your right leg and that your pelvis is centered and square facing forward. Now we're going to take that left heel behind the right leg. You're still externally rotated and you're going to press back behind. Good job. Little stretch and break here. Now we're going to take that resistance band down to the ankles. And from here, we're just going to do a simple side step. So we're going to step the right foot out, step the left, and bring the feet together each time. So we'll step right, bring together, left, bring together, and we're just stepping back and forth here, keeping those shoulders and hips square and facing forward. Keep breathing. Make sure that you're not holding your breath. Now we're turning to the side and really burning here. Left hand to the bar. We're going to take the right foot and step forward and then bring back together and the left foot. So we're keeping pretty straight through the legs and we're just thinking about taking a step forward and coming right back. Good, we're really feeling that here. Now we're going to take those steps to the back and come back center. We're staying straight through the legs, but we don't want to lock out the knees or hyperextend, particularly on the standing leg. So just be mindful of that, of a little gentle bend without locking out. And finishing up right here, we're going to remove that band and we're just going to come down into a little stretch. So we're going to squat down, taking the legs wide and just place the elbows to the knees and just sink in here, flat back, chest facing the floor. You can place the hands down to the floor if that's more comfortable or keep them up on your knees. We're just taking a moment to stretch out. Go ahead and lengthen the legs up straight. Give the hips a little rock from side to side. And we're going to go ahead and grab our mat now, coming down onto the floor. We're going to come down to a kneeling quadruped position. We want to make sure that our hands are directly underneath our shoulders and that our knees are underneath our hips and about hip distance apart. We're going to be starting through the right leg for 4 exercises. So we're going to lift into a fire hydrant, press back straight, back to hydrant, and close. Lift, press back straight, together and closed. Lift and press, back to hydrant and down. You can just lift your knee to wherever that is comfortable for you and don't be focused on it being super high. We want it to be nice and long and lifted while you're stable through the body. Little rest right here, and then same leg, we're going to take that knee around in a circle. So we're going to lift out into a hydrant to the side and then circle that knee the whole way back down and come back in. Full range of motion through the hip here, and the glutes are certainly working as well while we're getting a nice range of motion and warmth through the hips. And one more right here. Tiny little break, and then that same working leg, we're going to reach back. We're going to lift the leg straight up into the sky right here. Lifting up, lowering down, then we're going to lift and we're going to cross over. So we're going to cross back behind our standing leg foot. So the pattern is up, down, up, cross, up. So we're just going back and forth, and we want to maintain a neutral spine with our back not moving all over the place, and just hold nice and steady here. Good. Now we're going to bring our left elbow down to the mat. Our right leg is going to extend straight out to the side, and we're going to lift and lower. We'll think about pressing as evenly as we can through that elbow and hand on the mat and not overly shifting our weight. We're trying to stay in that quadruped position as we lift and lower right here. Really stable and steady through the body, and those glutes are burning at this time. Good. We'll fold that leg back in. Now we're going to switch to the other leg right here. So now our left leg is the working leg. We're going to lift out into that fire hydrant, press the leg straight, fire hydrant, and back in. Lift, press back behind into an arabesque, and then come back in. So don't rush through these movements. We want them to be separate and distinct. Hydrant, press back straight, bend back into that hydrant, and down. Good. Small break right here, and then we're going to take that left knee into a circle. So we'll lift out to the side, circle around and back. Right here. Lift and circle around. And bring that in right here. A small 10-second break. We're going to extend that leg back straight. And we're going to go into lift, lower, lift, cross. Right here. Lift and lower, lift, cross behind. Lift, lower, lift, cross. And last one right here. Bringing that leg in. Now we're going to come down to our right elbow. It's going to be our opposite elbow of our working leg. Left leg is extended out to the side, ankle straight out from the hip, and we're going to lower and lift right here, pressing through the left hand and the right elbow. The last one right here. And bring that back in. Good. Let's come into a little stretch. We're going to sit cross-legged right here, and we're going to lean the body forward as much as comfortable. If you're sitting tall and upright with your legs crossed and you already feel that stretch in the glutes, you can stay right there, or we'll try to fold forward as much as possible. Perhaps your hands are just pressing down onto the mat, or maybe you are outstretched with your hands going to the end of the mat like this. As you come and sit back up, you'll notice that one leg is crossed over top of the other, and we're going to switch it so that it's the opposite direction. And then we're going to come out into a stretch. Now, typically when you come into a crisscross seated position like this, when you're crisscross applesauce, you'll have one leg that you naturally cross over front all the time, and we're just going to do the opposite. Other one on top, and you're going to feel the stretch through the opposite side glute here. So probably in this second position, you'll feel more of a stretch than you did on the first. And bring that up. Good. Now we're going to cross here. We're going to bring the right knee over top of the left knee, and I'm going to turn around so you can see this a little bit better. We're going to think about stacking knee over top of the knee. Now, in some bodies with your hips, that might not be possible. It might look more like this, a little bit more separated. So you're just going to come to wherever you can, and sitting upright might be enough of a stretch, or perhaps you want to fold forward. So we'll think about bringing the chest down towards the legs, but you're going to do what feels right on your body here. And just really breathe into that stretch. Think about lifting up and pulling across right here. Good. Now we are going to switch that. So we're going to put the other knee on top, and you may find that on one side you can stack the knees better than on the other, and this is normal. Good. Now we're going to come side lying right here. We're really going to work through the core, the hips, the glutes. We're coming down onto our left elbow. That elbow is underneath our shoulder, and we're really lifted through the side body off the mat. The left hip is pressed into the mat. We're going to keep that leg parallel, lifting and lowering for 3, sweep forward, and then we're going to turn the knee up and bring it towards the body. Again, we'll lift parallel for 3, sweep forward, turn the knee towards you and lift up. You can take your hand to reach towards it or keep it down on the mat. Sweep forward, turn the knee up and bring towards your body. So you'll feel a little crunching motion in your body right there. Sweep forward, turn the knee up and crunch. So my right hand, the fingertips are just pressing down into the mat for balance and support. I really want to keep my hips as stable and steady as possible while my right leg is doing all of this motion. Also, if you flex through your bottom leg, so my left leg that is on the mat, I'm flexing through there to help me stabilize from the ankle up to the hip. We're going to feel this through the hips, the glutes, the side body. Everything is really working to stabilize this in this position while we're moving just the leg. Now we're going to come down onto the elbow and we're going to come into a fetal thigh position. So the knees are going to come up straight across from the hips and the ankles straight down from the knees. And we're going into a parallel lift right here. We want to think about keeping the ankle in line with the knee. So the knee's not lifting higher than the ankle. They're both lifting up as if you're lifting the cover of a book. Now we're going to go knee to knee, toe to toe. So we'll inwardly take the knee in and then we'll rotate out as the toe comes down. Everything else is stable and steady. Just that working leg is rotating, lifting, and moving. Good, bring that down, and we're going to flip over to the other side and do everything on the other side. But first, we're going to go into a stretch. So we'll take that top working leg and we're going to cross it over figure 4 and just hold onto the thigh of the left leg and pull it in as much as is comfortable with your knee just stacked over top of the hip. And we're just pointing through the toes here as we're stretching. Now we're going to actively flex both feet and feel that shift and stretch in your muscle. Good, bring that all down and unwind. And now we're going to bring the palms of the feet together and just let the knees drop off to the side. We're working a lot of the same muscles over and over in different ways, so taking little stretch breaks in between is going to be really beneficial here. Good, now take that right leg, which was your working leg, and we're going to stay lying here and just bring the right knee over on top of the left knee. Think about keeping the hips and shoulder down on the mat while you do so. All right, let's flip over. We're now going to be on our right side. So we've got that elbow underneath the shoulder, legs are stacked, hip is stacked over top of hip, and we're going to lift that leg parallel for 3. Sweep forward, and then we're going to turn external rotation, take a little crunch as we lift up towards our body. Again, making sure that that hip is staying stacked over the lower hip right here. People have a tendency to roll back here and let that hip roll back slightly, and we want to keep everything stacked and stable so that the only motion that's going on here is the lifting of the leg. So you can see a crunching through your waistline in most of these movements and then stabilizing through the body and the core as we sweep just that single leg forward, and then we're lifting up and bringing that leg closer to us. Again, that parallel lift is for 3, and then 1 sweep forward and 1 externally rotated lift towards the head. Think about long, graceful dancer legs and stabilizing through a strong body here. If we train in a graceful, controlled motion, we will have a graceful, controlled body as a result. So really think about visualizing that graceful motion and being gentle with yourself when it's not perfectly graceful. We're just aiming for that. Good, now we're gonna come down and We'll just support the head with the elbow, tuck those legs forward, and go into that parallel lift. Lots of isolation going on with one moving limb. Now we're taking knee to knee, toe to toe. Make sure that you're not holding your breath, but you're inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and we're letting that breath fuel all of our movement. Good. Now we're going to flip over onto the back and take that left working leg, cross it over so the ankle crosses over top of the knee, figure 4. We lift up that right leg, wrap our hands underneath the knee, and just pull in gently right here. Toes are flexed or just relaxed, or pointed or relaxed right here, and now we're going to actively flex through the ankle, thinking about sending the ankle across the room, and we're flexing on both feet. Now we're going to bring both the palms of the feet together and let the knees drop off to the side, and just lay flat here and breathe, letting those hips open up. Don't feel like you need to force the knees down, just come to a place that it feels comfortable for you. And then we're going to fold over the working leg, so that's going to be our left leg that we fold across, and we're going to think about keeping both the shoulder blades down onto the mat. And just that little twist there. Okay, sitting up, we're going to come to a nice stretch. We are done with our work for this class today, and we're going to go into nice stretch. So starting with the right leg, we're going to come into a lunge and lift the arms up to the sky. We want to make sure that our knee is tracking over top of the ankle and not over top of the toes or coming too far forward. And we're really stretching through the hip flexors right here and just breathing in. You've got some options here. You could have your hands at your waist or on your knee or down on the floor, or lift it up towards the sky. Remember to keep your shoulders pulled down and away from your ears and not let them scrunch up here. Placing the hands towards the mat, we're going to shift the hips back, straighten through that front leg, and lean the body down, stretching through the hamstrings here. Now bending back forward into a lunge, we're going to lift up that back leg. So we've got our toes tucked underneath and we're straightening that leg out off of the mat. Hands are evenly pressed into the mat here, directly underneath the shoulders. We're going to change that and switch up the stretch just a little bit. So we're going to take the right hand to the inside of the right leg and we'll lift the left hand off and just be slightly rotated and deepening into that stretch right there. And the back foot, rather than toes facing forward, the toes are going to turn in a straight out. Now we're coming back to that original position. We're going to take the right leg and thread it through into pigeon right here. We're going to keep that back leg active so the toes are tucked and the leg is lifted from the mat. And then we're going to bring both those knees back together and do everything on the opposite side. Left side coming forward into that nice deep lunge. Keep the hips square and facing forward. Lift the arms towards the sky, or you could bring them down to the mat if you like here, or they could be at your hips or on your knee. Now bringing both hands down to the mat, we're going to send the hips straight back, straighten through that left leg, and fold the chest down towards the leg, stretching through the hamstrings. Make sure the hips don't twist off to the side, but they remain square and facing forward. Bending through the knee again, we're gonna lift that back leg off. Toes are tucked under, and the toes on both feet are facing forward here. Both hands pressing evenly into the mat. Now take that left hand to the inside of the left foot and turn the toes out on the back leg as you open up the hip so it's no longer square and facing forward. Recenter here. Lift the left leg and thread the knee through the hands, coming down into pigeon. The back leg toes are tucked and that back leg is active. And then bring both the knees together. We're going to press back into a child's pose here, lengthening the arms out and sinking back in. Remember through all of these stretches to breathe deeply, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and don't hold your breath.
Okay, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Hope you got your sweat on today and got those booties worked, that you're feeling lifted and tighter as a result. I will see you guys next time in the studio.
Thanks for joining me for this really targeted workout. Generally, doing barre is a great way to sculpt and tone the legs and lift the booty, but today we were just focusing on that booty in particular. Remember that anytime you do a barre workout, you can be working and lifting through the glutes as well, and you can join me for full-length choreographed barre classes on Patreon.